What's up, guys? Hades here. Today I have a really fun one. Today's going to be the carry tier list. I'm going to redo this entire thing, start from scratch. We have so many updates that I can't... The old one is completely irrelevant now. So, if you've been living under a rock, Immortals, they have specializations. They have a bunch of attributes. You need a ton of fragments. Getting to level 6 cost me 300 Hippolyta. Boosting her damage costs 80 and 120 and 200. It costs 3,000 frames, right? So we're going to break down this list based on a couple of things. One is the changing meta. There's a couple of new skills in the game, a couple of immortals, a couple of new builds. I've gone over those. Those are going to be influenced in my tier list. Second, easy to max also means easy to obtain, free to obtain, easily available, you don't have to wait for them, etc., right? And then the final one, and this is the most important one, is the actual carry potential, right? So some heroes are good in the meta, easy to max, but they just aren't that good, or they just can't carry that hard. These are going to be influenced in the tier list. Now, I have them color-coded: Earth, Fire, Shadow, Wind, Thunder, Water, Holy, and Chaos. Now you'll notice none of the tanks or supports are here. These are the characters that could potentially be your carry on your team. Some of them better than others. Some of them are fringe cases. Something like Nebuchadnezzar is technically an attacker, but he's very supportive, so I'm just gonna throw them in the carry tier list at D. Now, keep in mind, this is not how useful each immortal is. This is how well they can carry in the future. This is saying you should put your time, energy, effort, and money into maxing them to contribute to your team's success, right? Now, one of the new ones, if you haven't been paying attention to some of the videos, is Baldwin. Now, he's going to be really good in a new mage meta. He's not easy to max, but his carry potential is extremely high. With the rate increases with some of the characters, he might be the highest DPS mage in the game, but no one uses him. And I firmly believe he's an S tier champion if you have all the things. I'm going to do some easy ones. Atlanta, I don't think she'll ever be good enough. Frederick will never be good enough. I'm not a fan of Yoshi unless it's for bosses. I'm not a fan of Ramses unless you really want to. Ashoka, not a fan. Arash, not a fan. These are all pretty much useless. They've never really been meta. They won't be meta. They're not going to carry your team. Just keep those in mind. Now, I'm also not a big fan of Lewis. Not a big fan of YSS. They're never going to carry. I do like Peter. I think Peter is someone who is now very easy to max. He kind of does a lot of good stuff. The debuff from his thing, being able to poke, do lots of damage. I've seen a couple of these be really effective. I'm actually shocked at how good he is. I'm going to place him kind of deep in the A tier. I have a feeling there's going to be a lot here in the A, but he's going to be a little higher than I thought. Now, I like Cleopatra. The problem is her damage is so low. She has a 300% ability where someone like Merlin has like 500. So her damage potential, she's not going to carry, but she's going to be a good asset. She's extremely easy to get. She's going to counter mages. I think she's going to be a solid B tier hero. She's not going to carry, but she has more potential than she's ever had. Not a fan of Mehmed. Alex is a little hard to get, but he's still pretty easy and still pretty strong. I'm going to place him pretty solid in the A tier. Hannibal, who goes right next to him in a lot of teams, he is extremely easy to get. His artifact is completely free in Mysterium. His fragments are super easy and very common in the market. So he's going to be up the top. And surprise, surprise, there are some serious salad and carry teams. Now, Hannibal's not quite as high. And I'll fix the pieces later. But it's going to look something like this. And I will sort them in their tier list. Now, for me, Poseidon has taken a big hit. I have Poseidon. He's not as strong as he used to be. The meta isn't perfect for him. He's not easy to max, and his carry potential is actually somewhat lacking. If you're a Poseidon player and you haven't been able to upgrade him, and you place against something like an Alex, you're going to notice the Alex might actually out DPS you, which is a little bit concerning, but it is what it is. The people who are maxing these easy to max ones are going to be way more powerful in the coming months. And if you're going to go for chaos and you don't have a lot to spend right now, they're going to be weaker in the short term. Now, that being said, Loki is absolutely going to be extremely strong in the near future. He's extremely strong in a bunch of teams right now. I think he will continue to be extremely strong. And you might be wondering why I'm placing some of these mages so high. Let me break it down for you. There's a new skill in the game that once all the whales max it, if you're a solo carry like the Poseidon team, the physical damage dealt by that character is going to be almost 50% lower almost the whole time. This is a huge deal. And it's a big reason Poseidon is so low on my list right now. He's hard to get. He's not favorable in this meta. So things are going to have to adjust. Now, Wukong. He's a new top dog. He got buffs quite a few months back. But now he can't really be debuffed the same way. And he's more tanky. And he presents almost the same amount of damage. And he combos better in different teams. So he's actually going to be S tier right now. Looking at Menko, there's just better options. There's so many better options. Alex, Hannibal, Saladin, Wukong, and he's not easy to max because he's a holy character. So I'm actually going to have him in B tier. His actual carry potential is much higher than a lot of these, but the fact that he's harder to max is just going to make me put him lower. Himiko's always been an S tier. I'm going to put her at top of A tier. She actually got a small indirect nerf with the Fighting Master change. So you can kind of deny her putting your guy in the realm, which is really nice for her. I'm a big fan of Tutankhamun. He's a little hard to get, but he is very strong and extremely undervalued. I definitely would look into him. Liz has and always will be good, but she's hard to grab, and she's always been countered by Theodora. Until that can be fixed, she's just going to be stuck somewhere in the B tier. Has potential, kind of just gets dominated by select few heroes. Khan, for me, he's going to get this new skill. I'm going to have a video going in depth on these. He has this new skill. Where is it? Right here. Lightning Strike. 300% damage. If they're wounded, Kin and Khan, damage that they take is increased by 50%. They're going to take 50% increased damage. That's crazy. I think Khan is going to be really valuable in the near future. I'm going to put him in the back at S. He's a little hard to max. I think he's going to change into the meta a little bit. Hamu, I'm going to put him somewhere in the A tier. I think he's solid, a little hard to get. Darius, I'm not a big fan. Water has been stinky for a long time. I'm just not a fan right now of water. Even though fire's in the meta, it's just too slow. The dragon's not that useful. It's just too slow. Kukulkan, again, same with Menko. He's kind of interesting in that he can carry. He is good supportive. He's a little hard to obtain. So I'm going to put them in that B tier that has potential. Gilgamesh is an interesting one. I'm a big fan of Gilgamesh. The problem is he's never found his niche. He's physical. That lowers a value just a little bit. But he's really, really easy to get. You can have thousands of him for free in the market, which means I'm going to actually put him the back S tier. No, I'm going to put him somewhere in the middle of A tier. Siegfried, not a fan. William, very weak compared to his options. Hippolyta is absolutely A tier. Probably a little bit higher. I'm going to move these around a bit. I think Hippolyta is easy to obtain. You can get it for free in Mysterium, free in the market. Just strong all around hero. Xiandiok, easy to obtain. I've talked about her over and over. Very high potential. Wu, a little bit harder to obtain. Not as high potential. More in the B tier. I currently run Wu and Xiandiok. I think Xiandiok will probably be exchanged for some other supportive characters in the future. So I'm going to balance this out just a bit. And this is what we have for our tier list. It might surprise you, a few of these heroes. Baldwin and Saladin and Hannibal, all wind, all extremely powerful. Two of them, well, Hannibal's easy to get. Baldwin and Saladin are in the market. All you need is your gems. Gems are going to run the game for a long time. I'm telling you. Fire, wind, Khan, and then a few of these other heroes. The ones that are really easy to get are going to be really strong right away, right? If you can get 3,000 Hannibal artifacts and completely max him out, he's going to cleave everything to death. Same thing with Saladin, same thing with Baldwin. There's a bunch of builds that just have them pop off. They're going to go off like crazy and have so many extra stats. I know this was a long video. I hope you enjoyed it. I love making these kinds of videos. If you have comments about my list, go ahead and leave those in the comments below. I would love to check them out and maybe update this in the future as the meta shifts. I'm going to try and keep this and move it around as we see meta shift and such. I'm predicting a bit more of a mage meta in the near future. Also a more, you know, quote unquote free to play, easy to max meta is going to be taking over for the next 3 to 5 months. I'm telling you, the way the game has been set up, the fire, thunder, wind marches are going to be really, really strong. And it's not until people can actually get the chaos, holy, and shadow up to par before they can start to compete. But yeah, catch you guys in the next one.